entering the forefront?
Looks like it's Trellomo and Spark as game
All right.
7 and Trellomo will be our close.
Our
So
close,
good
yeah.
news for Spark will be you're able to carry some momentum between best of threes, and this should happen within like the next minute and a half as well. This is the one thing I love about how we do Brawlhalla here. It is back to back to back in these best of threes, and again, different from crew battles or even squad battles. I don't know exactly what it's called in
Crew
Brawlhalla.
battles.
Yeah, crew battles.
In most fighting games, it's safe to assume it's called crew battles.
Okay. Unlike crew battles, the stocks not carrying over doesn't really help a player who may be dominant. But the
Yeah.
fact that you're thinking about the fact, oh yeah, I could have carried like 6 stocks into round 3 there. It's pretty helpful in the back of your mind.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, it's that helpful nature that really tends to bleed through of, I won that first round, I can win this second round. It's that positive mental attitude, that positive mindset that can really go a long way for players at a time like this. So with Spark coming in, they're warmed up. They were able to win that last round that we saw, the last best of 3 in the 2-0 fashion. Hopefully they didn't burn at full thrusters though, and it could end up costing them later in the round. And hopefully they're able to play a little bit low and slow, a little bit more calculated, and come out dominant here in this upcoming matchup.
Yeah, this next matchup. If you're thinking about this from Spark as well, you're now 4-1, already great, and you're thinking, well,
very good.
I've already beat one guy who's 3-1 today. Might as well just double it up, back to back, finish off a quick 2-0, twice over, finish your day, go home, eat some chicken parm or whatever is for dinner today after winning back to back Brawlhalla games. I don't know. I've got chicken parm waiting for me. So
I wish. No, I do not have chicken parm waiting for me. But now you've got it in my brain. So maybe I'm going to change that later today. But regardless, we're getting the players ready as quickly as we can. I'm excited to see a little bit more of Spark. I mean, talk about just having a Spark out there on the battlefield. Is it a cheesy line? Perhaps, but it is true. I mean, just a really good performance. Trellomo, though, coming in, going to be the one trying to shake up greatness here. See if they can knock that win-loss ratio for Spark down just a hair.
It also feels like if Trellomo has that background from our previous game, they may try and pick into one of our legends with a better kit to combat that. Dusk will be picked into here. I don't know why in the world does Spark change to Val?
Same reason I think we see people do it a lot in these moments like this. I think it might just be that nerve of, you just watched me play somebody else. I want to throw you off. I want to make it a little bit harder to predict what I'm going to do and how I'm going to play. Now, that's, of course, an assumption. I've never actually heard that confirmation from one of our players, but that's always how it seemed to me, at least.
So YBN is a nickname of Young Killa, or just Spark as we'll refer to them as. Trellomo is conveniently Trellomo in-game, so that's helpful at bare minimum. Nobody's landed really anything to start here, though. Trellomo taking a little bit, then dishing it right back. This feels like a little bit more of an even matchup, especially with the changeover for Spark.
Without a doubt. I mean, this is going to be a bit of a closer matchup early on here. We see Spark trying to find that damage. Can't quite get that offstage playstyle. And Dusk, speaking of playstyle, it's one of my favorites here in the game. An up-close brawler, but has that, this is very Pac-Man or Rob related for those who come from Smash Ultimate as myself. But right now, not able to get a lot done with it quite yet. Trellomo in. Talk about a red health bar right now.
Hello.
And there it is. Spark able to find that first strike once again. Not slowing down for a minute.
The slight change for Spark in their small playstyle, they haven't tried to follow up on as many hits as we saw in the previous couple of rounds because they're on a slightly different equipped legend. It's not completely different, just a small lack of speed is kind of made up for in the damage they output, which is kind of what we saw in how quickly that first knock was finished. But they may be gone as well if they can't get over, and they will. Oh, maybe.
Ooh, get up and over. We could see Spark losing their first stock here on stream. It was a back-to-back domination there in game number 1, but the secondary character just does not have that same swagger that we saw earlier, and Dusk gonna be able to find it, right? No way.
How do you avoid that follow-up as well? It just seems like it's the second time Spark has baited out the return to the platform. There we go. Spark has lost a stock. It only took him 3 full rounds, or 2.5.
2.5 rounds to lose that first stock. And now we're going to be tied up 2-2, but all that extra credit that Spark has found is really going to be coming in handy. They take Dusk off stage, or Trellomo, excuse me, on the Dusk. Oh my goodness, what a beautiful throw into the sword. The damage rack up is nearly infinite. Dusk tries to go for the wall, slow wall jump, excuse me. Gets caught out with that grab into down throw into back air here, and that should be the stock. That is going to be one left on board for Dusk here in their first matchup.
Oh. Did you see what Spark just did? Spark just threw the sword off the map.
Yeah, they're feeling confident.
I love that. Swap back to the, I don't even know what you call it.
The gauntlets?
Yeah, that's exactly. Trellomo just kind of scrambling, and because of how much, or how quickly Spark was able to finish off that second stock, they really didn't take all that much damage like they dealt out before losing their own first. A lot better of a start for Trellomo, but they haven't been able to finish it. Here, they need to finish one quickly. Are they able to get back? Yes, they will.
able to get back on the board here. Trelamo trying to find that second stock, and I think really getting close to doing so, just like that. A beautiful performance. They're going to be able to tie things up here 1-1. All of a sudden, a player that we thought was really going to be able to dominate this performance thus far, a little bit shakier on what we're seeing.
But Spark did not do a heck of a lot between losing their second.
No, really not.
Giving over that second as well. If Trelamo can find at least something to start off this second stage, they're in a much better spot, but it really comes down to how quickly Spark can dish out the damage they followed up on the previous couple rounds. They really haven't done so. That bar has stayed yellow for Trelamo for basically the last 30-45 seconds.
Trelamo all the way down into the red here on their opponents, but still in the yellow themselves. Oh, okay, a good turnaround, trying to get a little bit closer to the end of the matchup, but still no super powerful justification here, if I'm being honest. Nobody really taking the lead yet. The next combo could be the last one. Both players rapidly approaching their last stock territory, last stock, last hit. Trelamo has them on the ropes, has to go up and through. Spark has to drop because they're running out of stamina in the air, and that could be it, will be it. A beautiful performance from Trelamo to turn around what started as a dominant matchup against them to put their first win of the night on the board.
It looked like the old game of JLI. You ever heard of JLI?
No,
I don't know if it's exactly pronounced. So it's where you have like this thing connected to your hand where you just kind of throw a ball off the wall. I don't even know how to explain it to somebody who has not seen it. But
I think I know what you're talking about, crazily enough.
Yeah, it's a little like curled thing that you equip to your hand and you throw it off the wall.
Yeah.
Google JLI, J-A-I-A-L-A-I, 2 words. Long story short, that's what it looked like when Dusk just kind of grabbed and threw off the back. It's called a rebote for all of you who ever.
Oh my goodness, look at this guy, he's going crazy over here.
It's the only niche sport that I know off the top of my head. But it was a clean finish for Dusk, not giving up a lot of damage and kind of keeping things at arm's length when there wasn't that extra melee attack available for Spark. Love the way they kept their distance, keeping track of that individual play, but also, and importantly enough, just not allowing those combos to hit and not overcommitting to when Spark would fake the fact they're going to land on the close side of the platform and then up air a couple times the other side. It looked a lot better later on for Trelamo, but they need to start better in this round too, because I feel like Spark's going to learn very easily.
I think Spark's absolutely going to attack, and I think Spark's also going to be going back to the first character that we saw them on earlier today. I think there was a little bit of, not overconfidence, but I think it really was that you saw me play already. I want to try something else. It didn't work. They're going to try to return to the forefront here with that first character, if I had to guess.
It would surprise me, especially because they kind of lacked the speed they were looking for to finish off the combos they started. That was the main problem that we saw for Spark, not being able to gain back some damage towards the later stage of their own stocks. Is finding some combos, or at least the start of some combos, and just not having the speed to get over there. Again, different slight kit combo, not being able to land some of those quick melees. That can be the difference maker, and it felt like it was here.
The difference maker can come down to a matter of who hit their last shot and who didn't. And I think we saw a really good example of that in that previous matchup. We saw it go down to last stock, last hit scenario. And if we jump into the second matchup of this best of 3, will it be a 2-0 in favor of Trelamo? But there it is, as predicted, Spark back on the Hattori.
Just look at the kit. Bottom left of your screen, bottom right of the kit selector. Look at the speed difference. That should be what can change this game over. It feels like the damage output and the shielding is very similar. The only thing is crit looks a little bit better for Dusk, and that could be the difference maker. If the Hattori for Spark cannot find the speed they're looking for, EC East could finish 1-1 with that.
Especially with the way that Dusk tends to play is really kind of crit focused. They go for those larger hit combos when you're least expecting it. They try to find that value early, and nobody able to pick up value quite yet. A lot of air dodging, a lot of dancing around each other before Trelamo is able to find that first combo. Already into the yellow here on the side of Spark.
And the one thing that Spark really wants with this speed difference is being able to escape those combos if they've got the speed to even get out while midair. That is not the case there. Trelamo already starting off well, doesn't allow Spark to even fully regain platform control, and a little bit of an overcommitment again. Same way we finished off round 1 is how we start off round 2. Spark down 1-0.
Spark down 1-0 at a pivotal moment here. It's going to be, look at the patience. They both kind of bite their tongue for a moment. Not sure who wants to go for the approach, because Spark's original playstyle of going in for that hyper-aggressive approach just doesn't work as well against Dusk's close to mid-range player here, their fighter. But the pressure is on regardless. Trelamo taken off the side of stage here. Oh, beautiful spike off into the bottom left blast zone. Will not be able to make it back up, and blink and you miss it. We're tied back up 2-2.
Thought Spark was accidentally trying to send one off, but it was a weird time of timing for Spark. And it also comes down to how quickly they can try and regain more on the tail end of their second stock.
Ooh, oh, Spark really, I mean, just so much more comfortable in this character so clearly.
Spark tries to send off Trelamo, but at the same time, if they can at least gain positional control on the tail end of this platform, Trelamo seems to be fine just kind of sending Spark off into the distance. We've seen it a couple times already, but they don't have that extra melee attack, and that's really what's cost them here. Spark sent off, and oh, there's exactly what Trelamo was looking for. Grab that, send them off immediately. Perfect timing for Trelamo.
I mean, just a disgusting combo time and time again, and it just seems like we're seeing Spark not be able to adapt to it fast enough. They get caught out by that play from Trelamo, who's not slowing down for an instant. Oh my goodness, this might be a 0 to death. Do they touch the ground here? And they're okay, already negated the 0 to death.
Would have been a funny way to finish off
We saw 2 last week, I forgot to tell you that.
How in the world did 2 happen in
Dude, it was wild. It was wild. Oh, there we go. Speaking of wild, tied back up 1-1 here. If Trelamo can win this, we go right into series number 3. But if Spark can find this, we'll go into game 3 of set number 2.
It seems like Trelamo has the better positioning right now. They've taken a lot less damage in this stock rotation, and it just does not seem like Spark is able to finish off what they're even trying to start. Overcommit to another combo. Trelamo almost found the grab. They tried it again as well. This is just exactly what Trelamo's looking for.
I think Trelamo might have this in the bag, unless Spark can hit one of those combos.
There it is! There it is!
Last zone just can't find it, and Trelamo emerges victorious in their first game of the evening, their first set of the evening. That's going to be a very strong performance through and through. Talk about a power player, if I've ever seen one. Hopefully Trelamo can carry that into the 3rd series as well.
You know, Dusk was kind of setting that up. The Dusk character was setting that up basically every single time that Hattori went midair, Dusk was looking for the grab. And Trelamo, knowing their character to perfection, knowing their legend to perfection, is exactly what we're looking for when we see these Brawlhalla best of 3s, because sometimes you'll see players who have a good experience, if not great experience, across multiple different legends. But Trelamo was not perturbed by the swap to the Hattori, did not care in the slightest, and just kept going for what was working. As engineers say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Put him in the air, grab him, send him off into the distance, and I mean, 2 close rounds in a best of 3. Both of them finish the same direction, and they do so in different ways. Trelamo looked a lot better to start off this second round than they did back in round 1. Maybe that confidence kind of went by the wayside for Spark, and understandably so. We saw how round 1 even started, much less finished. And it just looked a lot cleaner in round 2. Maybe that learning experience was better, especially against the Hattori.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a very powerful performance there. The Hattori works, I think, a wee bit better, but unfortunately just not better enough to find that victory there. So going into matchup number 3, we've got Trelamo, who's currently 1-0, versus Sonic 2007, who's 0-1. So can Sonic beat the person that beat the person that beat them? Well, only one way to find out.
In that case, we just have a 1-for-1 tie, and this day would be, I'm not going to say
not null and void, but
yeah, very close. I mean, that just shows how close some of these games can be, though, where you're looking at 2 individuals that seemingly stepped up against each other, and yet we're not even writing off Sonic because it's a different playstyle to how Trelamo is. It could be a game of rock, paper, scissors, where Rock will easily beat Paper. Paper is losing to Paper will easily beat Rock. Rock is easily beating Scissors, and Scissors is going to knock out Paper.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more, honestly. I think you said it best. I mean, it's just going to be that scenario of every player that comes to the table plays differently. Each champion, each legend you see has a play style, has a kit, has an expectation. But what I really do like about Brawlhalla compared to other fighting games, and mind you, I come from like Injustice and Mortal Kombat, where if you're playing a character, you're going to do it this way. That is how those games tend to work, which is why I happen to be so good at it, because it's the same combos over and over and over. But a game like Brawlhalla, there's an expectation that you don't have to meet. You can change the play style, you can spice things up, you can get weird with it, which is when players tend to do their best. Now, Sonic's #1 hurdle right now is not beating themselves up over that loss. They need to come in with a clean mindset, a strong performance, and an urge or a yearn to win, and I really think they might be able to do so. But Trelamo really showing up and showing off tonight as well.
And against a individual who kind of showed up and showed off already in the first best of 3.
Yeah.
Real mistake-free first round, and it seems like that confidence maybe bridged the line between that and arrogance in our second best of 3. Again, the only difference in a 2-round best of 3 was those 2 stocks, and both of them were fairly close to finishing in either direction, but it seemed like Trelamo has a very specific game plan, and I wouldn't be surprised if they pick into the exact same legend and move into the exact same strat as we just saw. It is knock up, try and finish with that grab and send. It just seems like they're going for a golf swing, and in back-to-back rounds in that best of 3, they had like 335-yard drives. So great finishes, or arguably a great start depending on how you look at golf holes.
Yeah, I mean, a great start regardless, I think, but these players seem to really be milling over who they'd like to bring to the table. I did get confirmation that they have finally made those choices that they're looking for, so let's see what those choices are and just how impactful they may be. Okay, so Chewbacca on the board, Dusk out the window here, and it looks like Orion returning once again for our friend Sonic 2007.
Of all the changes For Sonic, I feel like they would swap up a little bit if they saw the Chewbacca on the other side, but I like the change for Trello, although it does slightly scare me. We could see exactly what we just saw in the previous round, where Spark was seemingly comfortable. They didn't need to overcommit to that same. However, Trello already taking so much.
A lot of damage out the gate here, but a powerful performance regardless, and let's see how these players can play out if this series continues. Trello on the Chewbacca, I just can't get over it.
I love the selection, but it's a surprising one, and it seems like it's fairly well changed over for Sonic 2007, who is comfortably played for those closed range attacks. It's working perfectly fine for him. And Trello can find damage to return. Sonic 2007, we've seen them have difficulties get back on. That's going to continue here, but not to their immediate elimination. At least not till the third time. Trello knocked him off on 2 separate occasions. And now that Sonic 2007 is back, they seemingly are perfectly comfortable. How much more can... Oh, never mind. I was about to say how much more can Trello find. The answer, it seems, is very little. So it does come down to that changeover at the tail end of each stock. Either way, basically back to neutral. Trello again taking most of the early damage because they're on the Chewbacca. They're trying to keep their distance, and it just does not seem like Sonic 2007 wants to give them any, if at all. Good readjustment back to the platform there for Sonic 2007, who again has that abbreviation MEX. They are in-game Mexican Plus, if anybody's confused as to referring to Trello. Again, playing good for distance, and Sonic 2007 closes it. Looking the wrong way can easily cost you. Here's Trello again with more damage, but not being able to find the finishing blow they're looking for. Those combos can be a lot more difficult when you don't have those melee possibilities, I say, until Sonic gets sent off the map. Decent start for Trello after that second stock expired. They need to be able to finish it off while still dealing more and more damage. They cannot afford to give over yet another. Great bait to grab the rifle. And more damage without even losing that second stock. Seemingly the weakness finally showing for Sonic 2007, who has not been able to finish off the red health bar of Trello. Grenades miss, but they at least force one off. That's perfectly fine at the tail end of things for Trello. A little concerning at the tail end of their first stock, but the second one didn't even escape them. And it seemed like Sonic 2007 on the Orion just couldn't finish off what they were already planning on putting through. Basically, every time we saw them go for those close range engagements, the Chewbacca of Trello would change to the other side and just not give them that ability to play from the melee. All in all, better finish, it seems, for Trello compared to what we saw in their first or second round of that best of 3. But all in all, perfectly fine. Sonic 2007, still very much in this best of 3. They showed a lot the early stage of that first stock. The second one's really where things kind of fell apart for them. And again, it comes down to the learning factor of Trello. If they can find that early engagement, if they can find that finishing blow they're looking for, then I don't know if there's much that Sonic 2007 can find. Already up 1-0 here in the second best of 3. And losing the first best of 3 early for Sonic 2007, kind of mental boom. But there's still a lot more they can learn from. There's still a lot more time. Wouldn't be surprised if we see a changeover, because it just doesn't seem like Orion is the selection tool they're looking for. It also comes down to Trello changing from the Chewbacca maybe back to what we saw earlier with the Dusk. I wouldn't hate that decision, but it doesn't look like I'm going to get that benefit. Orion being picked back into here if I'm Trello. I'm going right back to Chewbacca. Same exact game plan as I talked with Seth about earlier. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Don't really need to. Does seem like Trello wants to take an extra second to pick. Maybe a background conversation with Coach behind him. I'd still go with Chewbacca here. Changing back to the Dusk is probably fine. Orion's a fairly balanced kit with the melees. Wouldn't fully surprise me, but no, they're going to go right back to Chewbacca. No real reason to change. They've already got the damage output they need. They've got the composition in terms of the kit they need. No reason to overthink it. I feel like this could be a fairly quick end if I'm Trello. Orion needs to be able to shore up the ability to turn in melee. If they can find that, they're fine. They also can't afford to give over that expert. If they do, it's a quick finish. Trello, we're down to Small Fortress of Lions, Small World's End, or most Isley Space Point. The answer seemingly will be Small World's End. I don't think the platforms really matter all that much for Orion. It could help Chewbacca a little bit, just because of that distance ability, but it doesn't look like on Small World's End there's any elevated platforms to benefit from. So it will come down to the start here. for Spark, and oh, they've already lost that melee ability. Trelamo trying to finish this one off quickly. They grab the distance rifle as well. That has slightly changed compared to our previous platform, but it may not particularly matter. And is Trelamo just kind of messing with Spark? Grenade lands. Second one, that one just barely misses. Going for more. That one doesn't land, at least not as successfully as the previous two. But yeah, already going off the map is Sonic 2007. This is what we call not the dream scenario for the individual. And losing most of their second stock already without dealing much damage whatsoever to Trelamo. Good return. Grenade lands again. Trelamo going for the combos. Almost lands another, but at least a return for a combo for Spark. They just cannot afford to give over anything more, and they've been caught over committing. Almost caught sending themselves off the map. Trelamo goes to re-engage. They try to throw the rifle to send Spark, or Sonic, sorry, off that map. They can't finish their final blow either. But I don't know if it's going to matter with Sonic's health bar getting into the very deep red. Blood red, if you will. And they run out of that second stock. Trelamo still with their third stock, all still intact. Spark overcommitting again. Trelamo almost sends them off the map with that clarinet, but they miss finally. And Sonic should be able to finish this, right, Sonic? Maybe?
I think so. I think I'd be surprised if this isn't going to be happening here, though. But the clarinet, first and foremost, hilarious. Every time I see it, I think it's a super funny item to be using. But Trelamo, in such a dominant performance here, I'm just not sure what can be done to stop the momentum that's so heavily swung.
I don't think there's going to be a way to stop it, unfortunately. Trelamo has been on red health for seemingly a calendar year at this point, and Sonic hasn't even been able to bridge the gap until just now. There's still a stock and a half advantage for Trelamo, and they have been the runners of how this second round, sorry, has played out. At least regaining, but only for so long. Imagine the clarinet.
Ooh, that's it.
I was about to say, imagine the clarinet lands and that's how it ends. Turns out it's the down air from just
it's the boot to the face that puts it away there. Trelamo, a really solid performance there in the second matchup. So I mean, the Chewbacca is a weird pick, caught me a little off guard, but clearly I didn't know what I was talking about because this has been quite the opening.
It also seemed like the Orion was just the wrong selection to counter that. Now,
Yeah.
in the second round, we saw the full pick phase go through where Chewbacca was picked last. It seemed like Sonic 2007 was comfortable in the Orion, but it just does not look like Orion can match up against Chewbacca. I don't really care who's on either side of that. Chewbacca has the better overall kit. Melee potential, maybe not so much, but being able to swap off for a lot more distance fighting, and Trelamo being comfortable for that distance is just a better matchup at the end.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, Trelamo just does well there in the second matchup, does well in the third, and I believe that wraps up Brawlhalla.